Hello there, this is Rom Wills coming back at you with yet another video. The Union of Superior Men. And I would say that's a concept that's being developed by like several of my mentors and several men in my circle, just the union of superior men. And I wanted to talk about what that is. First of all, in most spiritual systems, most spiritual systems, development systems around the world, there's a concept that there's three levels of humanity, right? And that's basically in the Tao. There is the inferior man, the superior man, and the sage. In the Medu Neter of the Asar Set Society, there is the Sahu, the Odd Man, and the Bob Man. In early Christianity, it was the masses, and then it was the disciples, and then finally the Master Jesus, the sage. Now, when I talk about a union of superior men, I'm talking about men who are at that second level, who have risen, so to speak, from their lower selves. They're able. These are the true men. These aren't juvenile acting men. These are adult men who are able to impose their will on their lower selves. That's why in indigenous cultures and during rites of passage, men were put through tests for them to develop their willpower. Now, there's so much I could say about that, but I don't want to go too deep into that concept because a lot of it requires some background information. But I just wanted to give that context first in terms of what I'll be talking about today. And the main thing I'm talking about today is leadership, particularly in the black male community, or the black community overall, and black male leadership. Now, one of the things I've been seeing, especially on social media, and I really, because I don't want this to be seen as an attack against particular people, I'm not going to call any names. That's not my style because I'm looking at the bigger picture. But we have many people who see themselves as self-styled leaders among black males. And to me, it's a competition to be the one, to be that next King or next Malcolm, and to be that Messiah figure within the black community. And as a result of people who really haven't risen above their lower selves and are still in their egos, they are arguing with each other. Well, I'm the leader, I'm the leader, I'm the one. First of all, if you're saying all that, you're probably not the one. All you are is a charismatic speaker at best. And I remember I had a conversation with a brother who is, I'll say he's somewhat prominent in the political arena, but I won't call his name. But I remember saying to him, I said, if public speaking was all black people needed to be free, and being able to speak well, and having that charisma to develop a large following based on speaking, we would be the most powerful people on the planet. Because that's what we do. We listen to these speakers, we get fired up, but we don't get anything done. It wouldn't be so bad if what these speakers were saying led to concrete results, but in most cases it doesn't. Now, one of the things, we still need leadership. Leadership is still necessary. What leaders do is twofold. One, they clear the path for others to follow. And two, they are of service to the people that are following them. See, that's the whole thing. See, a true leader is of service to the people. The true leader is not a dictator or a speaker, but is of service to the people. Always remember that one part is the leader serving the people. Now, when I talk about a union of superior men, to use terms that people are more familiar with, I'm talking about a union of alpha males, a union of leaders. But within the black community, the reality is we don't really need a one, but we need several ones. And at best, if there is a single one, the whole purpose of that single one is just to coordinate the activities of the union of superior men. Now, when I say superior men, it's not just some people who just raised, they raised their consciousness level to that second level of evolution. No, it's deeper than that. The leadership that we really need within the black community, one, it isn't a political leadership, but rather a leadership in different areas of life. See, a union of superior men is not going to be all the same men. It's not going to be a bunch of preachers or a bunch of politicians or even a bunch of charismatic speakers. Indeed, some of the men who would be in that union would be the type of men who they might be lousy speaking in front of the public, might even be shy, or if they do speak, they're very dry speakers. They couldn't get anybody fired up. But, and now here's the key for the whole thing. These are the type of men who have shown that they have mastered a particular craft and they are proficient in a certain area. Because if we look at the black community, there are several areas that we have to deal with. Any community has to deal with several areas. That's why in other videos I said all men don't have to be charismatic. You need some people who may be introverted. Like one member of that group of superior men might be someone who is a master researcher, who is a historian. Now think about it. That historian, that's the person who can look at other things that's happened in history, the history of our group and also the history of other groups, and make an informed decision on the direction of our group now. And they might not be the person who's going to be in front of people, but the person who can find the information, mastered finding that information, and then mastered applying it. And that person, like I said, that person, they're the leader. They're the superior man in that group. So they're that leader, the research leader. And then a very important thing is economics. You need folks who can make money and know how to make money and know how to teach other people how to make money. See, that's a practical matter. See, right now we got a lot of so-called leaders on social media and they trying to lead people, but they're not making any money. They don't know how to make money. And one of the most important things that we need is economic leadership. As I commented on a friend's thread on Facebook, we need a wealth sage. So another member of that union of superior men is the man who's mastered creating wealth. However he did it. You might have 2 or 3 on there, in fact, who have mastered creating wealth. And then you have other areas. You have other areas such as real estate. One of my mentors mentioned somebody who knows about that real estate thing. Because you need land, you need property, and you might have that person who's mastered how to do this. And then even included in that wealth thing, you might have a superior man who's a master salesman. Like in this society, that's very important. Now say you have, let me use that as an example. Say you have someone, and this is a person, they might not have been formally educated, but they've worked in sales all their lives to the point that they've become master salesmen. Now people say, well, what you need sales for? Well, pretty much everything. Now, that person is a leader if they can transmit that knowledge to younger generations. Say you have because a true master salesman, what do they become? They become coaches. They become trainers. Some of them might even become corporate trainers. Now imagine you have a master salesman who's developed his craft since don't know, since he was 15. That man, he could take some men and women, really. Maybe have classes, teach them how to sell. That's his expertise. He's the alpha in that field. He's the leader in that field. And you could have someone else who, you know what, all they do is sing, but they can show others. They can lead in that field. Or someone else who is mastered keeping their health right. Because the key to it all, no matter what it is the person that is showed a mastery in their craft. And no, they don't have to be the speaker that talks about every single subject, but they've shown a mastery in their craft and they can transmit it, and they're the leader in that craft. And see, that's when you bring together several men together. And people say, well, how come women can't be in there? Well, here's the thing. Men by nature create boundaries. Men by nature, if you look at the history of the world, is moved by men who have created boundaries. Like all the great societies, famous and infamous in history, were really extended boundaries, were circles of men. Whether you want to look at the samurai of Japan, the Lakota Sioux, the Asante Man warriors of Ghana, look it up. The Nazis, the Mossad, the Jesuits, hell, the mafia. All of them were men who expanded, who created something. Because that's just the nature of men, to create societies, create civilizations, and all of that. That's men. Women maintain it. You know, let's get off the political correct shit. Men are the ones who create, like, these systems, the philosophical, religious, economic systems. So in the black community, it's up to men to assert leadership in order to make these things happen. And the best way to do that is not a bunch of speakers getting on videos and stuff, but a gathering of men who probably won't agree with each other on everything, and they really don't need to, but it's about the bigger picture. And really, that's why you want a group of superior men, because the man who has learned to control his own self, his lower self, will not be moved by ego, because that's all this is. Ego is me, me, me. The man who has expanded beyond his ego is we. And that's what you need to get it done. And it's like I said, all of them don't need to be photogenic. They just need to show one thing, and that's mastery within their field, whatever it is. I mean, you can have a guy on there who likes, is a master chef. You can have, and it doesn't have to be all professional types. It could be some guys on there who are builders. They know how to build a home quickly. They know how to keep it to code. They know how to keep it standing. Mechanics, whatever, whoever mastered their field. Those are the leaders, and they're the leaders. None of them are supreme leaders, though. Now, if someone is still caught up into the idea of a supreme leader, well, that person just coordinates everything, and that's all they do. They are not the dictator. They just coordinate the actions of the union of superior men, and that's it. That's how you make change. That's how you do things. So I'm putting that out there. And I've said this in other videos. My relationships that's what I'm known for. That's what I make a bulk of my money on. But I have so much more, and the times now I have to start sharing more and more of my knowledge. So anyway, that's it for today. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.